Now, recently, probably the most anticipated second season of any show ever on Netflix just dropped. If you don't know what show I'm talking about Squid Game. A show where a bunch of down on their luck contestants are given the chance to compete in a series of games for a chance to win 45 billion Korean won, which is like 30 million US dollars. Now, of course, if you're familiar with Squid Game at all, then you know the biggest gamble here is, well, your life. Because contestants who lose the games die. And the games that these contestants are competing in are all based on Korean childhood games. Now, I myself am not from Korea, but I think it's safe to say that kids all over the world grew up playing all different types of games. I mean, the kids now are usually playing on their iPads and whatever, but you get the point. So today, we're talking the best childhood games. But we're going to add a little twist to this list. Because for every entry we name, we're also going to provide a Squid gamified version in case any billionaires out there need some inspiration for their next big project. First up on our list, we got tag or any variation of tag. Freeze tag, chain tag, manhunt. Tag is a classic, and it's a banger. And I mean, you don't even need anything to play, except friends. You probably need some friends. Oh yeah, and legs.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Alright, my bad. I didn't mean to get dark, but yeah, tag is great because you don't really need any type of equipment to play. And you can start up a game of tag almost anywhere. Now, personally, I have a little bit of trauma from tag due to one kid in particular. Now, I won't go off on a crazy long tangent here, but basically one of my childhood friends in middle school, we'll just call him T. T was an absolute menace for no reason, okay? And his favorite thing to do in the world was play tag. But you see, T liked to play tag one-on-one. And if you made the mistake of falling into this tag showdown with him, then you will soon realize that this was the biggest mistake of your life. Because you see, a game of tag with T, it doesn't end when the bell rings at the end of the day. It doesn't end when you go home and get in bed, or when you come back to school on the first day the following school year. Playing tag with T is a life-binding contract that you can never escape. I mean, in 8th grade, we used to take the transit home, and he would chase you onto the bus, into the train station, literally anywhere. And when you came back to school in the morning, even if you were the one who was it, he was going to antagonize you until you couldn't help but tag him back. I mean, I've been out of middle school for years, and I still don't leave the crib without looking over my shoulder, because I just don't know if I might be getting tagged today. Anyways, yeah, tag. A great game to play with friends, and can be even more fun in its different variations. So how are we going to Squid gamify this childhood banger? Well, we're going to start the base of our game with the tag variation of chain tag. Now, I was going to go with manhunt, but chain tag just seems to make more sense for this type of game. So how our version of chain tag is going to work is simple. First, our contestants will be forced to wear these cool handcuff links on both wrists, with open handcuffs on the opposite side. Now, I don't have a patent for this yet, but I'm working on it. Anyways, after equipping themselves with these wrist cuffs, our contestants will be placed into a big-ass room, kind of like the red light, green light room from the show, and race from one end of the room to the other. And the last 5 people to make it to the other side will now be it. Now, the it players will be placed into the center of the room, and this game will be played in 5 rounds. Or maybe 8, or 10, I don't know, whatever makes the most sense to make the game fair. I'm not doing the math. And now when given the signal, the players who aren't it will try running to the opposite side of the room without being caught by the it players. If a player gets caught, then their cuff link will magnetically link to the player who caught them, slowly forming a human chain. So simply, the objective of the it players is to tag as many players as they can, slowly extending their human chain. Now the it players do have a chance to survive this game, okay? They simply need to outnumber the surviving players. So if there's 200 players and 101 people end up being caught, then the it players win. But if there's only 99 it players left and 101 players don't get caught, then the it players die. So yeah, that's what I got for a tag variation in Squid Game. Alright, moving on to our next childhood classic. Now, I was going to list off musical chairs, which is a great childhood game, but it's really more of a party or classroom kind of game. And I mean, you can't really just play musical chairs at any time. I mean, you need chairs and music. So I decided to go with the next best thing. The poor man's musical chairs. Duck, Duck, Goose. Now, obviously, these games aren't exactly the same, but they're definitely pretty similar. And Duck, Duck, Goose was a great game to play growing up. I mean, the tension was incomparable at the time. Just sitting there patiently waiting for the possibility of running for your life to make it back to your spot before it's stolen. So now, how will we Squid gamify this tense childhood game? Well, here's what we'll do. In our murder version of Duck, Duck, Goose, all the contestants will be placed into a room, and each required to stand on a tile on the floor that all connect to form a big circle. Now, unlike in the real Duck, Duck, Goose or the last game of Chain Tag, we won't have any it players. Instead of that, a digitalized child voice will come onto the speakers and keep repeating the phrase Duck, Duck, Goose. While it does this, the tiles under the player's feet will light up green every time the speaker says duck, going one tile at a time. But then, at any random point in the game, the speaker will say goose, and light up 2 or more random tiles red. Any player standing on one of these tiles has to then run to the closest available red tile. Every time this happens, the players will have a time limit to reach another red tile before it turns back to green. And if you don't make it to a tile, you die. Also, if the tile you're standing on lights up red, you can't just stay on that tile, you have to run to a different one, or you also die. But yeah, pretty fun, right? I know, it's great. Anyways, moving on. Our next childhood game we got, Dodgeball. Now, this game obviously isn't only played by children, but the majority of people will typically only play Dodgeball when they're in school. Now, let me just say, for some of us, going into gym class and seeing those rubber balls of glory, pause, was a godsend. For others, not so much. But I mean, that shit was fun as hell, let's be honest. Playing dodgeball as a kid can make you feel like you were coming straight out the Matrix, including its other variations. Like my personal favorite, Dr. Dodgeball. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I felt like I was on the battlefield playing Dr. Dodgeball. Ducking, sliding, and jumping all over the gym, saving my teammates from bleeding out next to the bleachers. It was great. I remember one time a friend of mine in middle school invited me to his birthday party at this indoor volleyball place, and we were in there playing Dr. Dodgeball, and that shit got my 8-year-old adrenaline pumping. And they had me playing Doctor, and I was out there ducking and diving through the sand and pulling my teammates to safety. And it was just a really good time until I lost a toenail in there. Yeah, I know you weren't expecting that turn, but I lost a toenail in the sand, and all I can say is I hope no one in that place after me caught a dirty toenail to the heel. But yeah, dodgeball was just fun as hell. So, for our very own Squid gamified version of this classic, I'd like to introduce Deathball. Now, for this version of dodgeball, our contestants will be required to wear some rubber suits. So basically how this works is just like a typical game of dodgeball, two teams will face off trying to eliminate each other by throwing balls at each other. And no homo. Except the balls they have will be special. Pause. But basically how this game works is once the ball makes contact with the material of these suits, it will trigger an explosion. So yeah, they're pretty much just throwing bombs at each other. However, there is a way to stop the balls from detonating. If a ball makes contact with one of these suits and remains in contact with the suit for 5 seconds or more, it will not trigger the explosion. Meaning if you catch the ball, it won't explode. Kind of like how if you catch the ball in real dodgeball, you don't get out. And at the same time, if a ball is caught, then the last person to throw the ball also dies. And the balls don't explode from hitting the floor or the wall or another ball. Okay, it's only the material of the suit the players are wearing. And if you're sitting there right now trying to break down the science of this and you think I'm doing too much, well, this is my Squid Game, all right? It's the NEP games, okay? I make the rules. Yeah, so there you have it, our death version of dodgeball. And next on our list, I'm going to go for one of the most basic childhood games there is, hide and seek. Now, I grew up in a little-ass apartment with one sibling, so we were pretty limited on hiding spots and players, but that didn't stop us from having a good time. I mean, the only real hiding spots were in the closet, under the kitchen table, or behind the shower curtain, but we did our best. And every time we went to church as kids, me and my bro and all the other kids had a whole building to play hide and seek in, so it got pretty competitive. And now, how are we going to Squid Gamify hide and seek? Well, first, we put all our contestants in a room, and in the center of that room, we'll have a big child robot, like the one from Red Light, Green Light, standing in the center. Now, this robot is going to cover its eyes and count to 10. Now, along the walls of the room will be big boxes with doors that look like closets. So once the robot starts counting, players have to race to get inside a closet. Now, only one player can hide in a closet at a time, and every round a couple of the closets will drop into the floor, decreasing the total number of hiding spots. And after counting to 10, the robot turns around, scans the room, and anyone who gets caught dies. After each round, the players have to start back at the center, and any player who tries staying inside a closet between rounds also dies. And any 2 or more players who are trying to hide in a closet together will also die. Okay, this kind of sounds pretty similar to one of the games in Season 2 now that I think about it, but whatever, that's hide and seek. And last on our list of banger childhood games, we have Hangman. Now, honestly, even though Hangman was always a fun game to play in class or whatever, I mean, is nobody gonna question how fucking dark this is, bro? This is a children's game. I mean, it's called Hangman, bro. I'm just saying, it's a little fucked up. But anytime the teacher decided to draw up a game of Hangman on the board, everyone got pretty excited. So now, how will we be Squid Gamifying Hangman? Well, we're actually going to be combining it with another childhood game, Tic-Tac-Toe. Now, for this game, players will split off into pairs, kind of like the marble game from Season 1, and then they will be placed onto 2 adjacent elevated platforms with ropes around their necks. And in between both players will be a large digital tic-tac-toe board, but not a regular tic-tac-toe board. This is going to be an ultimate tic-tac-toe board, which for those of you who don't know is just 9 tic-tac-toe boards put into one big tic-tac-toe board, and players can play their turn on any space on any of the boards. So now the 2 players will play ultimate tic-tac-toe, and whoever wins the most boards gets to live, while the platform under their feet will fall, and you know the rest. So yeah, there you have it. The best childhood games they were put into the Squid Games. But let me know in the comments, what were your favorite childhood games to play growing up? And if you watched Season 2 of Squid Game, did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Let me know. Also, don't forget to leave a like and sub, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Yeah.